revision video on linear, or as they are now called quite often in exam questions, arithmetic sequences. There are two key types of sequences. There are ones that increase, so the numbers are getting bigger. Ones that decrease, they're getting smaller. I'm just going to show you a few examples that I'm just going to make up off the top of my head. A sequence that's arithmetic means it's increasing by the same amount. So in this case, I'm going to start with a 5, and I'm just going to keep going up by the same amount every time. So this forms an arithmetic sequence. You know it's arithmetic because if you look at how you move from one term to the next all the way through that sequence, it's about adding on 3. Then people just write down n plus 3 and lose all the marks. Okay, it's not n plus 3. The going up in 3s means it is related to the 3 times tables. Okay, so it's 3n. You then have a choice. You either work out what 3n is, which goes 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. You either do that and subtract, and you get like that, which tells you that it's 3n plus 2. Some of you I know prefer the second method, which is to, again, it's going up in 3s, it is 3n. You just look back and say what was the thing that came before it, known as the 0th term. So if we're going this way by adding on 3, we go the other way by taking away 3. This would give us a 2, a positive 2. So either way, you get 3n plus 2. So there's the two alternative ways that you could do that. I want to do one more for you, because sometimes they start with negative numbers. Sometimes they start like this, and they go -7, -3, 1, 5, 9, and it sometimes puts people off. But the same approach will work for us. We look at what's happening as we go term to term to term to term to term, and we can see very easily, certainly here, that it's increasing by 4. This tells us that part of our sequence, therefore, is 4n. It's like the 4 times tables, but someone's messed around with the 4 times tables. They've shifted them up or down. The quick and easy method that lots of us use is just to say what would have come here. It's going up in 4s this way, it's going down in 4s this way, so this would have been a -11. So you get 4n minus 11. However, when you work on things like quadratic sequences, you need a little skill that looks a bit like this, and it's quite helpful for some people. They say, look, 4n, the 4 times tables, would go 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. And if I subtract that from here, -7 minus 4, -11, -3 minus 8, -11, -11, -11, -11. That's another way of seeing where this part of the sequence comes from. So 2 options, choose the one you prefer, either the 0th term or subtracting and seeing what's left over. They both work, you choose the one that works for you. Our second type of linear or arithmetic sequence is one that's decreasing. So it might be a case that we start with 5, but this time it might go down by 3. There it is. And the approach is exactly the same. What is happening as we move through here? It's going down in 3s, which means it's minus 3n. It's like the -3 times tables, -3, -6, -9, -12, -15, going down in 3s. Now this is where the 0th term method is often really nice for people. You just need to see what's here. If it's going this way, and it's going down in 3s, then if I went this way, it would go up by 3, which would give me 8. Now, of course, that's a positive 8. So we end up with -3n plus 8. Or you could write it, as some people do, 8 minus 3n. Those two are equivalent to each other. And that's how that would work. If you wanted to approach it by saying, what does the minus 3n tables look like? Minus 3, minus 6, minus 9, minus 12, and then subtracted it, as you can tell, this is going to be a bit more difficult. 5 minus 3 is 8. 2 minus 6 is 8. Minus 1 minus 9 is 8. You'll still get the 8 if you write out your minus 3n sequence and subtract. It just looks harder, doesn't it? Which is why I know a lot of you prefer the 0th term. Let's do one more here. How about minus 11, minus 15, minus 19, minus 23. And let's just use the 0 term method. We inspect the sequence. We see that it's going down in 4s. That tells us it's minus 4n. It's like minus 4, minus 8, minus 12, minus 16. It's going down in 4s just like the minus 4 times tables would do. Use the 0th term method. What would have come here? If this way is going down by 4, then this way is going up by 4. So be very careful here. From minus 11, going up 4 places, you get to minus 7. So our sequence then becomes the minus 4n we found using the 0th term. It's minus 4n minus 7. Of course, the negative numbers make it feel and actually become a bit more complicated, a bit more dangerous, but the same method will always apply.